Hey everyone, my name is Sami and I'm an AI MVP based in Belgium.
Hi, my name is Sjoukje and I'm an RD and an Azure MVP based in the Netherlands. And today we want to welcome you to the Global AI Bootcamp 2022. And this is the fourth year that this event has been organized globally. Our mission is to connect AI communities across the world to share ideas and content with each other. Thank you so much for joining us on this mission. The Global AI Bootcamp is organized by many different communities across the globe. And therefore, we want to thank each of them for all their hard work and passion as community leaders.
Today, you're all together virtually or physically to get inspired by the latest AI technologies and trends. This might be by a workshop, talks, or hands-on labs that your community leader has prepared for you. Today is all about learning new things about AI and sharing knowledge with each other. We hope that you can apply this in your work, in your community, and even in your daily life. Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the AI space. So we would like to invite our friends from Microsoft to go over some of these interesting topics.
Hi everyone, welcome to this Global AI Keynote. My name's Amy Boyd and I'm a Senior Cloud Advocate here at Microsoft. I am a white female with long wavy blonde hair, and today I am wearing a black top with colourful spots on it, which sounds very exciting when I describe it like that. It's not quite as exciting in real life. So it's so great to take part in the Global AI community and the Bootcamp initiative in January. Thank you so much to all the organisers for having us along to speak about AI and accessibility. We're really excited for what we've got in store, and so without further ado, let's get started. I'd like to introduce Saqib, who is our expert for today around the focus of AI and accessibility. Hi Saqib, how are you doing?
Hi Amy, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. And I guess my description of myself is I'm a middle-aged British Asian male with short black hair wearing a blue shirt.
Wonderful, thank you for sharing that with us. Saqib, me and you used to work together way back when. Oh my goodness, feels so long ago now. I was an intern. You introduced me, you made me feel very, very at home in the Microsoft Bing team over here in the UK. And I had a wonderful year on my internship. So thank you so much for that. It's great to be working with you again. I know you, I know what you've been up to and have been watching along. But for those who don't, can you tell us who you are and what you do at Microsoft?
Yeah, those are fun days for sure. So I'm Saqib Sheikh, and I lead a team of engineers here at Microsoft working on solutions to empower people with disabilities to do even more, powered by emerging technologies like AI and AR. And in particular, we make the Seeing AI app, which maybe we'll get into later on.
Yes, now I'm sure we will, but drop that in there to keep people watching, which is great. Saqib, when me and Henk host a show actually called the A Bit of AI Show, and something we do in there is called the quick fire questions round. It's very exciting, and I'm quite excited to do a shorter version with you so that our amazing Global AI community watchers can get to know you a little bit better. So are you ready for a few quick fire questions?
Okay, let's give this a go.
Wonderful. Okay, so what was your first programming language?
BBC Basic.
Oh, wonderful. That's what we like to hear. What was the programming language you last used on the project?
C# and Python.
Interesting. Two popular choices. And our third question is, what was your first computer?
Oh, yeah, that was a old Toshiba laptop many years ago now.
Oh, very nice, very nice. A good one to shout out. I was going to say, I think Yeah, I went from like, I could only remember what operating system like my first computer was. So no, very good for even getting on brand there with a brand name. Thank you for sharing. So there are a couple of our quick fire questions to get people to just know who you are, your background, you're incredibly technical. On that first computer, I wanted to ask you a little bit, if we could dig into what were some of the accessibility features you were able to use then, and kind of how have things moved on a little bit now?
I think in many ways, the fundamentals have stayed the same. As someone who's blind, I use a screen reader, which is a piece of software which runs in the background, and it looks at what's going on the screen, hooking into different APIs and speaking out loud using text-to-speech. And that in many ways was the same decades ago, and that is still the fundamental today.
Oh, I love it's so interesting, isn't it? Because actually, like you said, if there is this, you know, the fundamentals, and then I'm assuming everything just makes everything slightly easier. I guess it's like that for any tech, though, isn't it? You know, everything just gets better and better and better, hopefully, in most cases. Following on from that, I was wondering, can you share your perspective on why it's important for our audience to make things accessible? A lot of people in our audience are building different things, and I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
So you say accessible, and clearly accessibility is my passion, but I'd also invite the audience to think about inclusive, because on the internet, your audience is everyone. And out of 7 billion people, there's 1 billion people with some form of disability. So if you want to include everyone, then actually, you know, there's a whole lot of people with different needs. And how do you meet everyone's needs? And so the interesting thing about this is it's even bigger than that, because there are people with permanent disabilities, sure, but then also situational disabilities like having the sun in your eyes or a loud noise in your ears, and temporary disabilities like, you know, just breaking an arm for a while. So you want to be inclusive of everyone. So how do you do this? The big way is to be conscious of who are you excluding. And if you know who you're excluding, then just think about how can you include those people. And even if you can find 1 or 2 examples of people you're helping, make sure you laser focus. We often say design for one, solve for everyone. And so, yeah, you focus on that and you will include everyone, and you'll be able to make way better solutions as a result. So accessible, inclusive, definitely.
It's such a good highlight. Thank you, Sakib, for sharing as well and breaking it down, because you're right. Like, you think, you know, what 1 billion people, and you're, oh my goodness, that's a lot of people. But then you really broke it down into a few categories there for people to consider, which should, you know, make it a little easier for people to go, okay, yeah, who am I excluding and how do I solve for that problem? Really, really like that approach. Thank you for sharing. One of the other questions kind of looped in the AI element, because I know you're very passionate about AI and accessibility, are 2 key topics here, and bringing them together. What tools and services are making the biggest impact in the AI and accessibility space? Probably thinking from the bigger picture.
Yeah, so deep learning, as I'm sure the audience knows, is really improving every year, faster and faster, more and more. And if you think about people, I was going to say people with disabilities, but technology can really close that gap. So it's less about disability and more about, you know, have you got the right tools to close your gap? Like for people who are blind, we now have computer vision tech that can recognize what's in images. And that's what our Seeing AI project is about. For people who are hard of hearing, we've got tech which is getting better each year at understanding, taking a stream of audio and understanding individual sounds and being able to alert on that. Or for someone who can't speak, we've got custom neural voices. So people are working on banking your voice while you are still able to speak. And, you know, for people with neurodiversity, then there are ways to transform information into a way that is inclusive for you. And the list goes on and on and on. But it's this idea that, okay, we can use AI to figure out how are we going to present this information that is inclusive of everyone and our individual needs.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And you really rattled through there a whole set of AI technologies that have really come on leaps and bounds as well in the last few years. Computer vision, translation, text to speech, the neural voice stuff. Oh, I mean, it's phenomenal in some sense, isn't it? What we can do with some of these technologies. Can you tell us a little bit more about the C&AI project? You touched on it a little bit there. Can you give us a sort of overview for those that don't know about it and actually maybe where they can go and find it?
Totally, always happy to plug. So it's called Seeing AI, and you can get that from the App Store, or so go to seeingai.com. But this is a talking camera app. So for someone who's blind, you can just point your phone at something, select the channel, which lets you know what task you're interested in, and it will read things to you, recognize the people around you, and describe objects and so much more. Let you relive your memories in your photo gallery, or even recognize photos from other apps. And yeah, it's a really popular app amongst people who are blind. But we're always looking at it's like a conversation with the blind community. How do we understand the needs, find the latest technology from our scientists at Microsoft, and bring those two things together? So some of the recent work we've done was in augmented reality. So when the very latest iPhones had LiDAR scanners, we realized that now you can actually not only use computer vision to recognize what's in front of you, but know how far away it is and build up this 3D model of the world that persists over time. And we can use spatial audio to hear where things are in the 3D space. So you'll hear the word chair coming from the chair, or you could place a persistent audio beacon on the door. So it's like a virtual sound that comes from the door, and as you move around, you can hear that sound in 3D space. So these are just some of the cool new experiments my team's working on. And yeah, there's so much more, but go and check it out.
Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. Love the idea, yeah, of the AR kind of space, and the chair, like telling you it's a chair is genius. Interestingly, I think the first time I tried on a HoloLens, I tried like the space experience, is it? And the directed sound that they had is really, really interesting, because like you could like lean one way towards the sun or something like that, and you could like hear it crackling because it's obviously so hot, and I was just mind blown in some senses. So really impressive to see what we can do, not just with AI as a a cutting edge technology, also with AR, with augmented reality, and stuff like that. So yeah, really, really exciting stuff. Oh, we'll have to catch up with you every year and see what your team is doing so that we're the most up to date. But yeah, to go to seeingai.com to find that, or go to the App Store. Sake, before I let you go, we've got another couple of quick questions for you. I'm a big AI fan, but sometimes we know that AI doesn't always help, and so I wanted to ask you a very sort of blunt question, if I can. Has AI helped with accessibility in recent years?
Absolutely, there is no doubt that it's really revolutionized what is possible, but it's always worth understanding that AI is just a tool. So are the image descriptions that AI can generate, are they 100% accurate all the time? No way. And sometimes I'm frustrated how slow the progress is, even though it's incredibly fast. And so sometimes people see Seeing AI and they're like, wow, you can just get an accurate description of everything anytime. And that is the vision, that's the goal. But it's worth knowing these are tools. And I think of this as we should make AI tools which help humans make better decisions. Because at the end of the day, let's keep people in the driving seat. And as the tools get better, you'll get better awareness, better knowledge, but yeah, humans first.
Oh, it's such a good point. And actually, interestingly, me and Hank always talk a lot in our show about the end-to-end of AI is so important. And as you said, like, how is it helping to solve a problem, make things easier, make things more efficient, is the center of everything that we do almost in technology, isn't it? How do we make things better? So I really enjoy that perspective that you shared there. Kind of focus not just on the tool, not just what the tool delivers, but also what's the experience for the person who's using it and what decisions can they make from it. That's really good stuff. Wonderful. Well, to wrap up, unfortunately, we only have a short amount of time with you. As I said, we'll have to have you back. We'll have to have a catch up in the near future again. For all those AI experts, engineers, enthusiasts that are watching us here at the Global AI Keynote, what's the one thing you would suggest they do next to either learn more about this space or take action?
I would say solve meaningful problems. So find a problem you're passionate about. But then, this is the important part, find someone facing that problem, whether it's someone with a disability or someone who is, I know, accountant, lawyer, doctor, whatever your field is, find someone who needs your tool and then work with them really closely to see how does AI work for them? How do the solutions empower them to do more? So I always say that when someone with a problem and someone with the ability to create come together, that's when you get magical solutions out the other end. So, go do your stuff, and I can't wait to see what you put into the world.
Wow, what a wonderful way to end this this keynote for the Global AI community. Saqib, I just want to say a massive thank you for joining us and spending some time chatting to us about your insights, your perspectives, and your expertise in this space. We really, really appreciate it. And so with that, I'll hand it back to the amazing Global AI community organisers.
Thank you so much, Amy and Saqib, for this great interview about AI and accessibility. Accessibility is not just something small that we can push to the end of our backlog. Now let us investigate how we can help everyone by making intelligent AI applications.
Today, you can look forward to a great schedule that has been set up by your local community. So with no further ado, we again want to welcome you to the Global AI Bootcamp 2022. We hope you enjoy this day, learn lots of new things, and connect with each other. And of course, we hope to see you again at our next Global AI event as well. Enjoy the event.